She didn't wear designer suits. She didn't schmooze at rooftop cocktail parties. And she never raised her voice in boardrooms full of men who talked over her. But Maria Nocks saw everything. Because while they flaunted their quarterly bonuses and fake ethics awards, she was the one quietly reading the ledgers. Maria had worked at Tride International Holdings for 7 years. She was the firm's senior internal auditor, one of the very few Latinas at her level. Every Monday, while others boasted about weekend golf trips, Maria sat with spreadsheets, cross-checking vendor statements, client disbursements, and internal transfers. To them, it was boring work. To her, it was the map of truth. The trouble began on a rainy Thursday in April. Maria was reviewing quarterly financials when she saw a string of payments. Small enough to avoid attention, but frequent enough to raise a flag. $42,713 to a company called ClearPath Logistics. Then $39,800. Then $46,000. All under the Strategic Asset Management tag. But Maria had never heard of ClearPath. And when she ran a business license search, there was nothing. The next morning, she brought it to her boss. Mac Noyes, Chief Financial Officer. Billion-dollar smile. Billion-dollar secrets. He barely looked up from his espresso. Don't worry about ClearPath. It's above your clearance. Maria blinked. I'm literally in internal audit. Exactly, Max smirked. Stay internal. She went home that night and couldn't sleep. Because that's the thing about numbers, they don't lie. But people do. And what she'd just seen was not a mistake. It was a system. Over the next few days, Maria kept digging. Late nights, coded files, hidden folders, and then, like dominoes, other names started appearing. All fake vendors, all tied to internal shell transfers, and all authorized by a single executive, Mac Noyes. Maria needed help. But she knew going to HR was useless. Veronica, the head of human resources, was Mac's loyal shield dog. She needed someone who saw what she saw. So she took a risk and slid a sticky note under the desk of Maxim Gilbert, the IT security analyst. Encrypted files. Need help. Come alone. MN. Maxim showed up that night with a USB and a quiet nod. He didn't ask questions. He just started decrypting. And what they found wasn't just fraud. It was a financial laundering network built inside the company. International shell firms, fake consulting payments, political donations, crypto laundering, all hidden in plain sight. And worst of all, Rock Smith, the firm's clean-cut CEO, knew about it. By Friday, Maria had enough to blow the whistle. But she also knew the risk. People like her didn't get rewarded for doing the right thing. They got pushed out, discredited, silenced. She had one chance, so she sent an encrypted copy to a private account, and the other to someone on the board she barely knew. Lucas Tride, the founder's son. And her last hope. The next morning, her badge didn't work. Security told her she'd been placed on leave. Mac called it routine audit restructuring. HR called it non-disciplinary administrative transition. But Maria knew what it was. She stood outside the building she'd given 7 years to, holding a cardboard box of her things. But what they didn't know was that the real reckoning hadn't started yet. Because Maria Nocks wasn't going away. She was just getting started. Monday morning, 8:02 a.m. The emails stopped. The shared drives locked her out. And every trace of Maria's access was gone. Officially, she was on administrative leave. Unofficially, she had been erased. At her apartment in Queens, Maria sat hunched over a laptop with Maxim Gilbert. The IT analyst had risked everything to help her crack the files. They're scrubbing the logs, he said. If we don't move fast, they'll delete everything. Maria stared at the screen. Then we burn it down before they do. She uploaded the master file to a secure, encrypted drive. All of it. The phantom payments. Fake vendors. Off-book wire transfers. Emails between Mac Noyes and offshore agents. Memos showing Rock Smith giving quiet approval. And the worst. One file labeled Board Override Protocol.docs. A document proving Mac had looped in 2 board members to bypass the compliance system. Maria's blood went cold. This wasn't just fraud. It was conspiracy. That night, Maria received an unexpected call. "Maria? This is Lucas Triday." Her spine straightened. The chairman's voice was low, serious. "Meet me. Tomorrow. 7 a.m. No one can know." The next morning, at a quiet cafe near Bryant Park, Lucas sipped black coffee like it was the only thing tethering him to sanity. "I read everything," he said. "And you're right. They've buried this for years. We've lost millions, and our integrity." Maria didn't blink. "Then do something." Lucas looked up. His eyes were steel. "I will." 1 week later, a sudden board announcement hit every inbox in the company. Independent forensic audit initiated. All executive operations frozen. Phones rang. Rumors exploded. Mac Noise disappeared from the building. And Rock Smith stayed quiet. Too quiet. Maria was summoned. Not to HR. To the executive boardroom. When she walked in, the silence was thick. The board sat in full attendance. At the head, Lucas Triday. "Ms. Nocks," he said, "you've earned the floor." Maria plugged in her laptop and clicked play. Each fraudulent trail. Each fake signature. She showed the board exactly how Mac had used his CFO access to approve ghost vendors, then funneled millions offshore, with Rock Smith giving passive cover. "You were losing up to $8 million per quarter," Maria finished, all while laying off staff and cutting diversity budgets. Silence. Then murmurs. Then rage. When Rock finally spoke, his voice was low, defensive. "I didn't know the full extent." Maria stared him down. Lucas stood. "I've seen enough." The audit confirms her findings. Effective immediately, Mac Noise is terminated for cause. And Rock Smith, he paused, is suspended pending board review. A collective gasp. The boardroom had never seen this kind of reckoning. Lucas turned back to Maria. "You were right when no one listened, and brave when everyone turned away." "What do you want, Maria?" She looked him in the eye. Her voice didn't shake. "I want a department built to stop this from ever happening again. Independent, transparent, staffed by people who were always overlooked. And I want to lead it." That's how the firm's first ever Office of Ethics and Transparency was born. And at its head, Maria Nocks, former invisible auditor, now executive vice president. 3 months later, the plaque on the glass door read, Office of Ethics and Transparency, Executive VP, Maria Nocks. It wasn't about the title. It wasn't about revenge. It was about truth, and who got to speak it. Maria's first move? She didn't hire from the usual pipeline. She went to the people who had been silenced. The janitor who found shredded documents in the wrong bin. The receptionist who overheard hush-hush deals in the lobby. The junior accountant, single mother of 2, who flagged a mistake and got demoted for it. Maria gave them desks, gave them clearance, and gave them something no one had before. Power. Maxim Gilbert was now Chief Information Integrity Officer. The quiet hacker now wore a pressed suit, but still kept the USB that started it all on his keychain. "You sure you want me giving access to exec emails?" he grinned. Maria smiled. "Especially those." But cleaning the surface wasn't enough. Because corruption, it doesn't go away. It evolves. 2 months into her role, Maria uncovered something new. An old internal policy, Policy 28C, quietly allowed executives to approve charity partnerships without full transparency. Most donations were clean, but one. Triday Future Foundation, a fake charity used to funnel philanthropy into political bribes, set up by Rock Smith himself. The scandal broke within days. News outlets ran the story under the headline, "Firm that fired its whistleblower now promotes her to clean house." Rock Smith was forced to resign publicly. Not with stock options. Not with applause. Just a 2-line statement and a black town car. Maria was asked to speak at a national corporate ethics summit. When she stepped up to the mic, cameras clicked like thunder. But her voice? Calm, measured, precise. Ethics isn't just a department. It's a decision, made every single day, especially when no one's watching. After the summit, a young Indian intern stopped her in the hallway. She looked nervous. I just wanted to say, when you got fired, I almost quit. I thought it wasn't worth staying in a place like this. But now, I want to stay, because you stayed. Maria smiled gently. Then help me change it. Across the company, things started to shift. Diversity hiring was no longer symbolic. Promotions required ethical clearance. Anonymous tips led to real investigations. Executive pay tied to ethical performance, not just profits. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. Maria Nocks didn't become a legend because she broke the rules. She became one because she rewrote them. With silence, they had tried to erase her. But with truth, she built something that couldn't be silenced. 2 years passed. The skyline hadn't changed. But inside the glass towers of Manhattan's financial district, the rules had. Prestige Capital was no longer a place where secrets thrived. It was a place where stories did. Maria's story. On a rainy Thursday, Maria stood at the corner of 47th and Lexington, holding a black umbrella. She wasn't there for business. She was waiting. From the subway stairs came a woman in a faded trench coat, clutching a folder to her chest like armor. Her name, Farah El-Amin, a former compliance officer, fired 3 years ago from another firm after reporting a CEO's harassment. Maria had read her file. She reached out her hand. Come work with me. Farah blinked. You believe me? Maria smiled. I am you. That was Maria's secret. She didn't rebuild the system by recruiting the powerful. She rebuilt it by trusting the broken. Maxim now led a citywide task force on digital financial ethics. He'd testified before Congress, in a hoodie, with a backpack full of code. Fraud doesn't fear audits, he told them. It fears exposure. +3. Lucas Triday retired with little fanfare. Before stepping down, he left a private letter in Maria's office. It read, You taught me something the markets never did. Integrity compounds faster than profit. Maria's office now had 2 things on the wall. A framed copy of the original Whistleblower file, and a quote in black vinyl letters. Tell the truth. Make it hurt. Then make it heal. She'd never asked to be a hero. Never wanted a monument. But for every intern who spoke up, every analyst who flagged something, every executive who chose ethics over earnings, Maria Nocks had given them a new blueprint. This story isn't about revenge. It's about correction. And in the end, that ledger didn't just keep numbers. It kept truth. And she made sure it stayed open. Forever.